All right, so part two of unboxing the DIY power banks that I got. Again, the idea here is to use these as range extenders for power stations so that they can be charged on USB and then also output 12 volts that can be converted into solar input. So that's pretty cool. And the idea is to use salvaged 18650 cells and put them into these units. And each one of these was less than 20 bucks, I think. So we'll see what else we got here. That's the smallest one that was only eight cells. I kind of find maybe the one that we like best after, I work with all these. I do like that they all seem to be serviceable, so they're coming with like these screws. This one takes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 18650s, 16. And the top I like this one. I think 16 is a good number. This is kind of a good form factor, pretty nondescript, but then it's also got like a readout on the top. And it's got my USB ports, but most importantly, the USB-C. The important thing is that it needs to be able to charge and discharge from the USB-C port, it needs to have PD USB-C. So the output on this is I can go 12 volts at 1.5 amps. So again, the idea is to use a decoy chip here to output, to set the dip switches to have it output 12 volts, and then use diodes to maybe even combine a whole bunch of these. So maybe you can imagine like 6 of these lined up, all with outputs coming into one DC input in the back of that power unit. And the power station would think it's a solar input, but it's actually coming from these guys. The idea is how do you charge your power station using power banks? And the trick is, I think, to you could just use that the normal USB out to a USB-C in, make it super simple. But if USB-C allows bidirectional charging and discharging, the idea would be that they could be charged at night or charged on solar, or you could take these out in the yard and just lay them all over the yard. I don't know. I'm even thinking of putting these in my electric car conversion. This one looks good. Maybe I should save the box so I know. Well, I think it'll be pretty obvious. Let's see. I'll just keep these in here together. All right. I like this one so far, but it's kind of cool. You can get it in orange. I like the kind of the high voltage look. I think these do come in bigger ones too, and this might have some decent technology in it. So we'll see. But it does have a power button, which I'm not too excited about because I want it to work right out of the box. I guess I'll keep this in here. All right, next one. So this orange one was 8, that one was 16. Let's see what this one is. Very nice. And again, I think these were all under $20 each. So, all right, yes, this is bigger. Looks basically like the same model. I don't like how this is coming apart. But let's see, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So this holds 20. Now the only bummer that I'm seeing so far is this is all parallel. cells. You see they're all linked together. So the board here thinks that it's just one 18650. But you know, so if you had a shorted cell, then all the batteries would just start dumping current through that one, and you can see it, an overheated condition there. So that's that. I see a power button on the side here, which I'm not too excited about. But again, this one has 12 volts at 1.85 amps PD output. This one, I just like the design better. I think it feels better. Let's see, so this one, yeah, but they're all gonna be parallel wiring for those batteries, which I always thought actually was better in a way, because then you're not daisy chaining the batteries. If there were no major danger of a shorted cell becoming a light bulb inside of a power bank, yeah, then I think, in my opinion, just purely parallel cells, keeping them all parallel and then ramping up the current, I think is kind of cool. I wonder if this one may not be, this one may have, may work with series connections. So it'd be interesting. I mean, yeah. So this one has 1.67 amps output at 12. This one is 1.5 amps at 12, and then this bigger one is 1.85 amps at 12. Okay, moving right along. Here's the big kahuna. I think this one was actually $20. But let's see. So, it's got the nice feel like that second one there, but I'm not a total fan. Also, it shares the same logo, so it might be the same manufacturer. No power button, which I like. All right, let's see. So, I love how they come with these things. I mean, in a way, like I said, like even if you were just to buy a whole bunch of 18650s, doing some price comparisons, like for big honkin' power stations or power banks, like you start to save some money. But look at this. This is 40. This takes 40, and they're all in parallel. That's pretty wild. But I mean, yeah, let's see what the output is. It says output 12 volts, 1.67 amps. So, it's actually this one that had the 20. This has got the highest output of amps. So maybe this one would be the best one, with kind of the 20 form factor. I do kind of like this form factor, but this is cool. But definitely the most expensive one, and I don't really like all these ports. I think it's got like lightning output for like Apple phones, or it could charge on a lightning port, yeah, and charge on a micro, but the USB-C is the one that we're going to use, and because it's also bidirectional. But I mean, like, if you just wanted a quick way to put 40 18650s and make a battery pack and then have your outputting 12 volts at 1.6 amps, you know, maybe put 4 or 5 of these together and then suddenly you've got 10 amps of output. There was this little piece of something rolling around in there. I don't know what this is. Just looks like a little piece of metal. But anyway, so this is what we've got. And I've got some DC plugs coming, 7909s that can plug into the back of these decoy bars. So yeah, the next step is basically to just like sort the batteries that I have and figure out, you know, mix and match the capacity and the resistance, right, is important. And maybe just find a good deal on 100 18650s that are all new and they're all going to be the same, and I know that they're decent, and that will be the way to go instead of salvaging stuff constantly. But all right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different power banks here, DIY solderless, that we're gonna mess around with, fill them with 18650s, and let's see if we can get some power into the back of our power station to charge it through the solar port. That is the plan. So it's emulating a solar input is what we're going for. And, you know, kind of using off-the-shelf stuff, USB power delivery. All right, thanks so much.